gain on that one.
Rex Ryan. You knew it was something to the right.
Brian Allen puts it down. It's a 35-yard field goal attempt. And not through. So just 3rd and 6 for Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo. That now bring pressure and bring 5. Taylor steps up, launches it for McCoy, who couldn't hang on as he went to the ground to try to secure it. Devin McCourty has a hit last. 3rd and 10 again. New England has a timeout left. Free runner. Brady gets rid of it. Complete. White with the first down. Inside the 10. And into the end zone. The missed tackle turns into a Patriots touchdown.
And getting sacked.
Pressure. Brady gets rid of it. And open is Amendola. Eludes the would-be tackler. Amendola to the 6-yard line. 1 yard. This is where they lost. Vintage Patriots here. A flag is down and one powers to the right side and is in for the touchdown. Rather, it's White. James White. I beg your pardon. In for the touchdown. Let's see what you saw. That it's been a long time since a home field goal miss for Gostkowski. He'll try this one from 35. Again, another nice job on the hold by Ryan Allen. Puts it down, and the Patriots take a 10-point lead. Down to 8 seconds left, and it's 3rd and 18. And Taylor's throw, he's got to get out of bounds. Washington knows that and gets out of bounds. No, he stays in bounds, they rule, and the game will come to an end.
Are we gonna raise the roof? Oh, yeah. Are we gonna touch the sky? Hell yeah. Hey, everybody with me, let me hear you now. Yeah, 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 yeah. This is our
Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the Flying Elvis Faithful. It's your boy, Shaq flying the flag of the Flying Elvis here in the evil city of Gotham, that's New York City. Joining me, as always, is my pal from Oklahoma. It's Josh Madsen. Josh, how you doing?
Doing good, Shaq. Looking forward to the show. Off a Patriots victory. Can't beat that.
Yeah, definitely was a Patriots victory. 10-0 on the season, and there was a stat out there that said that more than likely the teams who start 10-0, of course, they go to the playoffs, but they always go to have success in the playoffs, and 3 of them will go to win the Super Bowl. So they definitely had a really torrid start of the season. But obviously, this game was, if you watch that game, and I didn't watch it live, but I watched it pre-recorded. It was hard to watch, and we'll get into that. And we'll also talk about the Denver Broncos. And we thought we were going to have PD Bronco on the show, but that didn't come to pass. But instead, we're going to have somebody who folks are familiar with here on the NGSC network. It's our pal Ray Jerome. He's going to be on the show. Since I'm sure he knows about the Broncos a few, since his favorite team, the Raiders, faces the Broncos twice a year. So I think he's the best to talk about the Broncos with us. So got a lot to talk about on the show, Josh. But first, the Bills game on Monday night, last night. What are your initial impressions? Because my initial impressions were it was just sloppy. It was ugly. It was everything that we didn't expect it to go with last week. It was just, I don't know really how to explain it, except it was just downright ugly.
To me, it was interesting to see how New England approached defensively in this game with a lot of safeties and very little cornerbacks out there. That was interesting to me, and the lack of play by our offensive line was another glaring issue in this game, and I'm sure we're going to hit all that, but to me, the defense played great. Offense was a disaster, if you ask me.
Yeah, this wasn't the offense's best night by far, and of course I would be stating the obvious by saying that, but the defense and the special teams stepped up, and they played their best at crunch time, and that was one of these games where, again, coming into December and January, when the weather is getting colder, those type of games are really going to be crucial, especially as young a team as the Patriots are. They're going to need these types of games to give them some carte blanche and some confidence to feel their way out of the regular season into the playoffs. But let's talk about the defense, because for those of you who aren't paying attention to stats out there, and we've mentioned this a couple of times over the last 2 weeks, that sure, these stats may be a little bit overrated as far as the numbers wise, but I mean, the numbers don't lie. The Patriots right now are currently the number 1 defense in the National Football League in terms of points allowed at 18.2, I believe. And the Denver Broncos are next up in line at 18.3. So, yeah, the numbers can be skewed a lot to fit your particular arguments or whatever you want to say, but they don't lie. So, Josh, what do you think overall about this defense and the fact that Jamie Collins is missing, which we'll talk about a little bit later, how, again, they really missed him in this game. But talk about the defense as a whole and the way they've just been the star of the season, of the half of the season, since the offense has been continuing to flutter.
I think the biggest, and I've mentioned this last few weeks, the biggest change in our defense was when Logan Ryan started playing. To me, he actually changed that secondary to a point where Belichick didn't have to worry about who was going to be the number 2 guy out there. He just walked right in there and took over, and that alone, I think, has a lot to do with why our defense is playing so good. And Belichick is always very good at matchups. He puts the right guys out on the field to play in each game. And like this game, for instance, we had 4 safeties out there and only 2 cornerbacks most of the game. And Tavon Wilson, a guy that, hasn't played more than 9 snaps all year, was out there 50 snaps in this game. And then you got, guys like Freeney, Mayo actually started playing in this game. Ninkovich played good. But the one guy, like I said, Logan Ryan, led the team in tackles. Again, this is not the first time in the past 4 weeks. And the dude has been not only, getting tackles, but he's doing a lot of one-on-one tackles that not a lot of players on New England are doing. He had 7 solo tackles in this game. I think he really more credit than he's getting. And Jabal Sheard was, impressive in this game. There's so many guys that played good in this game, overall in the season for this defense. But I really do believe, and I know this might be overreacting, that Logan Ryan might be the one key game changer on New England this year.
Yeah, Logan Ryan and Malcolm Butler both, they're just a great quarterback duo, and they've both taken a tremendous leap this season. And if you go back to August, and you said that if I was to say that in August, I'd listen to myself and I'd go, what, Shaq, are you stupid or something? Malcolm Butler, Logan Ryan. Yeah, Homer, like, what the hell are you talking about? So, I mean, and with Revis and Browner and Kyle Arrington, like, everybody would be calling you crazy. So it's amazing to think where these guys have come. And you talked about Logan Ryan. I'm going to talk about Malcolm Butler because his play against Sammy Watkins was amazing. Now, Sammy Watkins is not, I wouldn't call him a marquee wide receiver by any stretch, but he's clearly still the number 1 guy on that offense. And the Bills have kind of a weird offense where it's him and then it's a couple of other guys where you wouldn't, want to write home to. But I think he's just really been a stud. But like you said, Logan Ryan needs to be given his due. He's probably our 2 cornerbacks since I think Ellis Hobbs, which is going back a little bit. But I really like Malcolm Butler, and I really think that I don't think Emmanuel Sanders is playing next week, but if he was, it would be a good test for Malcolm Butler to do. But I've seen enough of him to even think, hey, if he doesn't play, it doesn't matter. Malcolm Butler has truly been a star this season. And more on the defense, I also want to talk about the linebackers, and you mentioned Gerard Mayo. He still had a minuscule amount of snaps. I think it was about 13 snaps compared to Jonathan Bostic, who had about 50-plus snaps, which is still very odd to me. But in the snaps that Gerard Mayo did have, he looked pretty, I don't know, he looked authoritative, he pushed upfield, he beat would-be blockers, and he made strong tackles. But his lateral movement still looks awful to me. There was one play in particular where he got smoked, but it was like a race to the sideline, which that's the type of a play he used to make. He's just not that sideline-to-sideline playmaker anymore. But you have to expect that. I mean, the dude's coming off of a patellar tendon injury, and that's the same type of injury that Victor Cruz had. So, you're not going to come back from that injury and be yourself automatically. So, Josh, what do you think about the linebackers and the defensive linemen, especially with Bill Belichick and his mixing and matching of the defensive linemen?
Yeah, it seemed like to me that we were, more of I don't know, I guess what I saw was New England was trying to contain Taylor in this game more than get after him, if that makes any sense. They were trying to keep him in the pocket, and I think they were successful in that because he only had 4 carries for 1 yard. So I don't think they were, because what happens is when New England goes after the quarterback, especially a guy like Tyrod Taylor, I think in the past, they over pursue and and that's when New England runs into big issues. So I think they did a great job keeping him in the pocket and not letting him get to the outside where he was dangerous. And Mayo, he was in there early, mostly on rundowns, I would say. And yeah, he was okay. He had 5 tackles in his 16 snaps that he was out there. So it was nice to see him out there. Freeney, Ninkovich, all played good. Nate Ebner even made it out, was out there at least one play. And then Chandler Jones, he was actually quiet in this game, but I think it was partly because of the game plan in which they were trying to keep Taylor in the pocket. And that's my observation. I might be wrong about the whole strategy because I'm not a coach, but it did appear to me that New England was trying to keep Taylor in the pocket.
Yeah, and you could say it worked to their advantage pretty much because, and it didn't, of course, it didn't help that Tyrod Taylor got hurt himself during the game, but yeah, I think overall the defense has been pretty darn good, and that's going to be needed because now I'm about to segue to the offense, and when you score 20 points with everything, I'm gonna first put into perspective because there are a lot of people, and I've read this today on message boards, I read this on comment sections, that that the Patriots are in trouble because they can't really, and I would tend to agree because the way the offensive line is, and this game was not a banner day for the offensive line, but I'm going to put some of the blame on Brady as well. But the thing about it is he was making amazing throws with no time. That first down throw to Amendola was incredible. There was a defender on him, and at second he just made the right throw. I mean, the protection was terrible. But you also have to give credit to Rex Ryan because he lives for these games against the Patriots. He's bad against everybody else, but when it comes to the Patriots, Rex Ryan is, you could say that he's Vince Lombardi or something like that because he just confuses the offensive line every time he's there. And he made 11 guys, or sometimes 10 or sometimes 12, seem like they were 15. So you have to give credit to Rex Ryan as far as the game plan is concerned. Now, I don't know. I guess Belichick answered the question on who his choice at left tackle was. Most of us prefer Nate Solder, but Marcus Cannon, this was just a really bad game for him at left tackle. Really bad. And I guess it's good that David Andrews got a break. There were a lot of penalties. There were way too many quarterback hits, physical, mental errors, and mental breakdowns. But I guess the benefit of running a guy like Garrett Blount into the D-line for no gain is it does open up the fourth quarter play action pass, which that's something they like to go to as well. Gronk, it was a really bad game for Gronk, which is a rare thing to say about him, but I believe he doesn't look well. I think that flu bug that's going around that Jamie Collins had, hopefully he'll be coming back out of that this week or maybe even possibly next week. I think he has that same type of, Foxborough flu or something like that. But Buffalo pretty much said that they're going to take Gronk out and beat them some other way. So they did take Gronk out, and we did beat them in another way. But, Josh, talk about the offense overall, but specifically the offensive line, which obviously was not good.
It was awful, actually, is what I would say. But, a lot of that was Rex Ryan. They were sending almost everyone, it seemed like, every play, and overwhelmed New England to the point, who was overwhelmed most, it seemed like to me, and obviously he was benched because of it, was David Andrews. It wasn't a pretty performance for him early. He only saw the field 23 snaps, and Ryan Stork went out there and mopped up, I guess is what you would say, and did an okay job when he was out there. But overall, the offensive line looked awful all night, and this might be the first time all year we're actually saying this, and it could be the blueprint of what other defenses are going to do to New England, especially a team like Denver next week. That might be sending people from all over the field after Tom Brady, and it worries me a little bit that they aren't going to be able to handle that. As far as Gronkowski, a rough game for him too. He was out there every play, but it's not an impressive performance. And then, of course, Danny Amendola got hurt in this game. Dobson, he doesn't even get touched and he gets hurt. It's just so hard to watch Dobson when he goes up. Always gets hurt. Always something happens. I feel bad for the guy, but I don't know. And then Chris Harper came in and saw the field 30 snaps, but had one ball. He caught one ball, but it was called back as a penalty. He actually looked good. I mean, it just seemed like Brady couldn't get the ball to him. So I don't know what the issue was. And then when LeGarrette Blount got carries, I don't know. It seemed like they were running just for the heck heck of it. I don't know what the purpose was most of the time. James White was the only guy out of the running backs that did anything all game, so there was a lot of different things. And Brady wasn't great either in this game to me, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say. And going back to Chris Hopper, I have to say it in a Boston accent. I really like that catch, even though it was called back. I really like that catch. I cannot wait to see more of Chris Harper because he just needs to be given more time. And Keyshawn Martin as well. Hopefully he'll be available for the next game. But the reason why is, like you mentioned, Danny Amendola got a knee sprain. Going to limit him throughout the week of practice, but which is great news, obviously, because people were thinking about he might be out 6 weeks, and obviously the Patriots do not need any more blows to their offense, especially in the wide receiver category, because Aaron Dobson, obviously, like you mentioned, got hurt as well. The prognosis isn't final for him, but he's going to definitely miss a Denver game, and maybe more than that. Jeff Howe, the Boston Herald, reports that X-rays of Dobson's foot showed no broken bones, but the extent of any ligament damage is going to dictate how long he'll be down. So, yeah, I think it might be all but over for Dobson, unfortunately. And I've mentioned his name a lot on this show, and it's just a tough break for him. But unfortunately, it seems like he's the Rise-Eye Dowling of the wide receivers for the Patriots, which, if you remember Rise-Eye Dowling, he just never got on the field. But, you can't make the club from the tub, or however that saying is. So, yeah, so that's unfortunate for him. But it's good news for Danny Amendola, I believe, because he could have had a career game if what we're about to talk about did not happen. And, well, before we talk about that, you mentioned Rex Ryan and his defensive game plan. What he did reminded me of the 2010 playoff game with the Jets, where he was switching his man coverage and he went straight to zone, and it just had me very interested. And, I said that the O-line did not have a stellar day, and they did not, but I'm not particularly worried or concerned about the offensive line because they need continuity, and they need it in a hurry. And it's definitely not going to be as good as it was earlier in the season, but Brady's definitely going to need to hold on to the ball with a more depleted receiving core. All right, Josh, here we go. The officiating, man. I never like to mention it on the show because they're usually never to blame. If you can come out with a win, which the Patriots did, it's always a good thing, and you really don't need to focus on it. But when it's a universal thing, when you have Bills fans, when you have a Raiders fan that we know was saying that the officiating is terrible, and they have every reason to believe that refs suck. But I mean, goodness gracious, man. Gene Steratore, who was supposedly had a good ref and a good crew, I mean, it was absolutely terrible, especially at the end of the game when they took it was the fourth quarter, it was about 2 minutes in the game, and they took about 9 minutes to call a play and then come back and then pause and then go to commercial. And this is why I say it was just a hard game to watch, and it makes the game unwatchable. And I never thought the Patriots games would be unwatchable, but last night I came close to turning off the television, and I wasn't even watching it live. Here's the play as it's happening. Here's the inadvertent whistle, and I'm gonna ask you for your thoughts coming up.
First down for the 31, right back to the air. Nothing open. Brady pressured by Hughes, got away, now throws it away. Was caught by Amendola, but was he out of bounds first? There's a whistle there as he got to the sideline.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, was he out of bounds first?
I didn't think so.
Neither did I on the throw, and I thought he was just flicking it to throw it away, and then Amendola broke free. Back and look at this, Gene Steratore and Gary Arthur, the line judge, discuss what happened there on that Bills sideline.
That's an inadvertent whistle, I think, Mike.
Well, he's in bounds, so is Amendola.
They're going to have to give Bill Belichick a good explanation on this one.
Everybody looking up.
The ruling on the field is that when the receiver caught the football, there was an inadvertent whistle by an official on the field. By rule, the ball is dead at the spot where the reception was made. That is where the receiver gained possession when the whistle was blown. There was also a foul for interference with the coach from the Buffalo sideline. That 15-yard penalty is going
my God, dude. It is so bad. I mean, the play was just so bizarre. It was just so bizarre. Brady drops back the pass, and it seemed like it was going to be sacked. He drifts to the right side, steps and lobs the pass over the defenders to Amendola. Amendola catches the ball, and there's nothing but green in front of him for the next 65 yards. But the official blows the play dead, thinking Brady stepped out of bounds when, in actuality, he was well within the playing field. So those players did stop at the whistle, and no one knows that they could have caught Amendola from behind. The gap was just unbelievably unforgivable, and the Patriots could have had a touchdown in that play. And it was a further big play when later on in the drive, Steven Gostkowski misses a 54-yard field goal, and that's his first miss of the season, which that has me even more infuriated. And it just wasn't a good night for the officials, and they really embarrassed themselves on national television. That provides, comedy for those who think that they get worse and worse every week. It's unbelievable. Josh?
Yeah, it was a debacle, and the NFL has came out and pretty much, sources, I should be clear, have came out and said that most of the officiating members or community were embarrassed by last night, and I think it's important that when we talk about this that we mention there was a lot of issues with that play, not just the part where New England would have had a touchdown. There's no doubt in my mind, but the other issue is Brady threw the ball, right, and then the whistle blew, and then Amendola caught it. By rule, technically, they gave us the ball on the 30-yard line, I think it was, and then we got a 15-yard penalty, so we were on the 45. I might be a little bit off, but nonetheless, the point being is they should have never gave us the catch position that Amendola had, because by rule, when the whistle blows, the play's dead. It doesn't matter. If he had caught it before the whistle blew, it would have. That's the right ruling, but the ball was still in the air. It's pretty clear by video too. And then, of course, the other issue is what I think happened is Rex Ryan got in the way of the officiating member. I don't know the guy who blew the whistle, but I think he lost the play, and there were guys going out of bounds, and I think he just assumed that one of those guys that he was trying to dodge had the ball, and he blew the whistle. And does that make it okay? No, not at all. But it's all a big disaster. That's what happened last night.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And the biggest issue is not the whistle for me, but there was an instance where Rex Ryan went on the chalk, he went to the refs and started screaming at the top of his lungs at him, and it distracted the refs. And, if Bill Belichick did this, he would be banned from the NFL. And I believe more than anything, that's a big deal. And everybody's ignoring that. And if that's not a 15-yard penalty, that would be worth $1 million fine or suspension. How are you going to go out there and start yelling at the referee and just going ham on him? That's the more egregious, I think. So, did you notice that, Josh? Because I don't know, maybe I'm crazy.
I don't remember that happening. I do remember Rex Ryan having multiple meltdowns on the sideline during this game, but and which is, I have to be honest, something about how he acts on the sideline I like how fired he is. I don't know, I think it does work sometimes for his teams, not against the Patriots, but in general, and that's what I like about him. I think he's a good coach, to be honest. There are a lot of people who don't, but I actually think if he had his players around him, that team would be great. I do. I think they would be good.
Well, I don't know. I kind of disagree with you, Josh, in the fact that he's a good defensive coordinator, but as a coach, I mean, he makes it all about himself. And the time you're mentioning where he threw his headset like a Gronk spike, kind of Gronk spiked it. That's a moment where I'm sure he was angry. Not saying that he wasn't, but I just think he makes it all about himself. His press conferences, I'm trying to beat Bill Belichick. I'm trying to, it's all about him. And it really should be all about the players. And that's my biggest pet peeve about Rex Ryan. I love the things that he said when he focuses on football, and I love that stuff, the funny, jokes he makes. So yeah, he is funny. I agree with that. But when he puts the onus on himself, and instead of, focusing on the guys who really deserve the credit, which is the players, or the blame, I think that's where stakes lie. And, sure, I would love him as, if he if he was a ringmaster for a circus, I would love that. But I don't want him as my NFL head coach. And thank God that we don't have to worry about that here in New England. All right, so I think that pretty much covers the Bills game. Yeah, that was just a terrible game to watch and review. I'm still having a hard time even fathoming how I got through to watch that game, because that was like pulling teeth. But now we're going to talk about I was going to say big matchup against the Broncos, but it's not really that big. At least it is big for the Patriots, I would say, because if the Patriots can win this game, not only will they definitely clinch the AFC East, which is now for real. We're talking about playoffs. Playoffs? Yeah, we're talking about playoffs. Right now, it's 12, so that's amazing to even be thinking about that. But if they can win this game, not only will they clinch the AFC East, but they will be able to have some breathing room as far as a top 2 seed, at least, in the playoffs. And let's see here. Hopefully our guy is here. Jerome, you there?
Oh, hey, how's it going over there, Shaq and Josh?
Oh, all right. He's there. So let me formally introduce you to the folks. Obviously, you guys know him. If you listen to NGSC Sports Radio, you know our next guest. He is the host of both the NGSC West Recess and his Raiders show, Black Hole Brigade, all right here on NGSC Sports. It's our pal, Ray Jerome. Ray Jerome, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great here. How you guys feeling tonight? Sounds like you guys got some good stuff going over here tonight.
Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going, Josh?
Good.
Yeah, man, we're pretty fired up. But obviously, with everything that involves the Patriots involves a little bit of passion. So I guess you can understand that from that point. But Ray Jerome, I brought you on the show because your team, the Raiders, faces the Broncos twice a year. So I felt that, next to a Broncos fan, I think a Raiders fan would know the Broncos pretty well. But I want to talk about the guy who will not be playing in this game, Peyton Manning. What do you think about the way his career has pretty much gone totally out of control over the last month of the season?
Well, I'll tell you this, Shaq, man, it's been one really, really quick deterioration of skills for one Peyton Manning. I mean, last year, the first 12, 13 games of the season, he was flying high. He was over 4,000 yards passing and doing the things that you would think Denver would need to do to be a contender in the AFC. But all of a sudden, he just hit the wall in that San Diego game, and it seems to have carried on this season. So I think that Peyton Manning, I've heard that he wants to return next season, but I don't think it would be in his best interest to do that. Just go ahead, take your money, and go back to Tennessee, I'd say. It's looking like that Denver, they're ready to move on with Osweiler, and I can't say that I blame him after his performance last week.
Yeah, the fact that he wants to not only play, but he said it doesn't matter if it's the Broncos or any other team, he doesn't want to play, which, I think he'd be really doing himself a disservice if he did that. Josh, what do you think?
I think Peyton Manning, yeah, he needs to retire. I've thought that for a while, but old people make bad decisions sometimes. I'm not sure he's gonna hang it up without a fight, and it's unfortunate because I'm sure there's some team out there that will give him another go and let him maybe embarrass himself even more and end his career on a real negative, which is how it's going to end if he ended it this year.
Yeah. So, Jerome, what did you think about? You mentioned him. What did you think about Brock Osweiler, especially with his performance against the Bears last Sunday?
Well, I think he played a very efficient game, going over 250 yards passing and throwing a couple of touchdown passes. But the important thing that I think that Denver's really starting to look at there was no turnovers at all from Osweiler. So the thing is, Denver, they've had trouble taking care of the football all season long, and if he can do that for them, I do think that this is probably his team going forward there. But the thing that he really has to work on is he's got to get that pocket presence down, because he was sacked 5 times Sunday. And going up against New England with the guys you guys have, such as Chandler Jones and Gerard Mayo, and if Jamie Collins returns this week, I mean, he's got to get that ball out fast, or else it's going to be something similar like that going on. But pretty efficient game, though, Sunday by Osweiler. So I think Denver fans should be happy about that.
Josh, what are your thoughts on him? And do you think that the Patriots have the weapons in the secondary? And I can say those types of words, and I can put those words together with the performance that they've been dealing out the last month. Do you think that they can slow down Brock Osweiler and his offensive choice, specifically Demaryius Thomas?
Yeah, I think New England's secondary can stop them, and I think if they create pressure, it's only his second start. It's not like he's been doing this for years, like Peyton Manning or anything like that, but it's going to be interesting to see if Emmanuel Sanders doesn't play. I don't really know how the Broncos are going to move the ball that easily. They're not, the most efficient offense to begin with, and I do think they're a little bit of a different team with a guy who's not turning the ball over as much as Peyton Manning was, but it's still only a second game. So, and they only played the Bears last week, so I don't know if we can really make a honest assessment until he's going to play New England this week, so we'll see, but I'm not convinced that he's probably going to run into trouble this week. That's what I would think.
Yeah, and I think that Brock Osweiler, he's a very intriguing guy, and obviously there is the meme out there that Patriots defenses usually struggle against quarterbacks that they've never seen before, and Brock Osweiler certainly qualifies as one of those who they've never seen before. So in that part, I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots struggled out the gate, especially with the crowd noise in Mile High, and with their incomplete, that crap that they do after everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they struggled out of the gate in defending that type of a thing. But I think with Brock Osweiler, I think you have to pick your battles. I don't think he's going to be testing 250 yards. That's kind of low, especially against a Bears team. So I don't know if I would. I would just play him straight up to the top, make sure all your guys are close up to the line, and pretty much shut him down, which I think that they could do. Jerome, back to you. What do you think about, their running backs? And Josh, I know, has mentioned on your other show, the West Recess, how much the Broncos do not run the ball. What do you think about their running attack, and do you think that they'll have enough of that to be able to keep Tom Brady down?
As far as Denver goes, well, they've got that two-headed rushing monster of C.J. Anderson and Ronnie Hillman, but those guys aren't really scaring anybody. So with New England being as athletic and fast as they are, I think you may see Denver struggle a bit running the football, which would be situations where Osweiler would probably have to throw the ball to even give Denver a chance to beat New England. And I think that's where they're going to have to earn their bones and throw the football. Because Hillman and Anderson, they've looked very horrible attempting to run the football. And I think that's on their offensive line also. They've had a lot of injuries there also. So I don't see them being able to run the ball effectively on New England for most of the nights in that game.
All right, Josh, your chance to beat up on the running game of the Broncos again.
They haven't ran all year, man. They haven't ran against the good teams, the bad teams they played. They haven't ran against anyone. I'm not worried about in their run game. Hillman does not scare me. C.J. Anderson does not scare me as far as New England's defense goes. I mean, the only way I'm scared about this offense in Denver is what we're going to talk about next, and that's their wide receivers.
Yeah, and they definitely have their share of wide receivers to go with. And as you mentioned, Emmanuel Sanders might not play in this game, but we still have to put into account since we're doing this show pretty early in the week. So I'll just say Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, tight end Owen Daniels, who again he's a guy who I think can, if Jamie Collins doesn't play, I think he can cause problems with the Patriots defense. And there's a guy there, let me see, Benny Fowler. I don't think he'll be able to do very much, but the receiving core, I think it's pretty good. So, Josh, back to you. What do you think the Patriots can do to stifle their receiving core?
Oh, I think New England's going to have to do what they've been doing all year. Malcolm Butler is going to probably cover Demaryius Thomas, and if Emmanuel Sanders plays, Logan Ryan's probably going to be on him, and then our safeties are going to have to be ready to, if Malcolm Butler or Logan Ryan whiff once or twice during the game, be there to pick them up. I'm not impressed with Denver and how they move the ball all year, and I know a lot of that's because Manning, has been throwing the ball more often to the other team than his own team, but I'm still not worried because this is a rookie quarterback, he's not a rookie, but he's technically a rookie at start, and it's just, I don't see them moving the ball in New England. We're the number one defense in the NFL, and we're the team that wasn't supposed to be that good on defense this year, and we're always shutting people up, and I love that.
And that's again, it's amazing to even think that they're the number one defense in terms of scoring in the NFL. And again, that's a testament to, number one, that Matt Patricia who comes up I just hope, the one thing I have a a semi-problem with, a tiny little problem with, as far as Matt Patricia's concerned, is last week with Patrick Chung and Tavon Wilson. They played a pretty good game as far as quarterback duty is concerned, but Patrick Chung kind of got burned on those deep routes when he was singled up against those wide receivers. So hopefully that's not the case this week with Demaryius Thomas, who is he's a different kind of wide receiver because he's a big dude, but he's also very fast. So he's not. But but again, Malcolm Butler has faced those types of guys all season long. Odell Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, even though he's kind of different than him, I think he can do a pretty good job on him. Jerome, what do you think?
Okay, I kind of got sidetracked there for a second there. Shaq, what were we discussing here?
We're talking about the Broncos wide receivers against the Patriots secondary.
Well, I believe that if Emmanuel Sanders can come back healthy this week, I'm going to have to go ahead and say Denver has the advantage there. The only problem is, can Osweiler be able to exploit those matchups? Because I don't believe that Logan Ryan is going to be able to consistently be able to stop Demaryius Thomas. Then you've got that speed receiver over there on Emmanuel Sanders. That can really help out a lot of things over there for Denver. So I do believe that they'll have the advantage there. Although New England, I didn't get to hear Josh say that they are the New England's the number one defense right now, but Denver, they will have a chance to attack just because of the speed and power that they have at the wide receiver position. So I'd have to give Denver the check there.
Okay, so we mentioned that the Patriots are the number one defense in the league. The Broncos are the number two defense in the league, and they're the number two defense by less than a percentage point, which is a very interesting stat to even look at. But let's talk about the Denver Broncos defense, and they're still pretty good, especially against the run. So number one, let's start with the Patriots running backs, Garrett Blount and James White. I really hope that they would be able to run the ball with Garrett Blount, but I don't think that's going to happen. Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, New England is, if they're gonna win this game, it's gonna be in the air. I don't see them being able to get a run game going against this defense. I mean, this is a defense that can stop the run, no problems. They've done it all year. And New England, really, our offensive line has been a little worried that we could even get a run game going if we wanted to. So, I think the key piece will be James White actually out of the backfield catching passes. I think if he gets involved, that's about the only part of our run game that I could see being important in this game, just looking at it at this moment.
All right, so Jerome, I'm going to throw this next one at you. And I know when I talk about this, I know that this makes you excited because, but I will say this: the Denver Broncos, as a pass rushing team, they do not look good as far as I've seen the Denver Broncos games. So, do you think that the Denver Broncos pass rush can get to Brady? And if they do, will it be often or will it be none at all?
Well, Denver, I mean, they have an ability to pass rush in spurts. I mean, you still got Von Miller. He's a very dangerous guy, and they also have Derek Wolfe. So they'll be able to push the pocket from time to time. The only thing that scares me is, can you get to Brady with your pass rush? Because if Brady steps up, he can change his loss point so easily, and it just makes everything just that much opens up for New England a lot. So if Denver's going to be able to get to him, you better get to him. You better bring him down hard. But I think with their corners, though, they should be able to hold down the fort over there with Aqib Talib and Chris Harris. And how is Danny Amendola going to go this week?
Well, they're still looking at it this week, so it's a possibility that he could.
Because I believe that if Amendola can't go, man, there's another matchup here that Denver should have the advantage on. You got the guy Chris Harper, you got Aaron Dobson. I don't think those guys are ready to match up with Talib and Harris. So Denver should have the advantage there. And the pass rush, they'll get to Brady from time to time. I don't think they'll do it as much as Buffalo was able to, but they should be able to get timely blitzes and be able to hit Brady a few times.
And, yeah, I agree with you, Jerome, as far as the wide receivers for the Patriots. I think if they are missing Amendola and they're missing Dobson, I think that's the worst case scenario. And if they don't have those guys, I don't think the Patriots can even squeak out 20 points, which is a far contrast from what they were doing in the early part of the season. But you can't expect them to put up that many points with all these guys missing. But the thing about it is, Rob Gronkowski is still there. Hopefully he'll be a lot better because obviously he was sick this week. So hopefully he'll be a lot better. And hopefully the offensive line, again, gets some continuity because that's the number one thing. I think with all this shuffling, which is very good, I don't, once they can get 5 guys on the line that can be consistent with each other, I think that will pay dividends to Brady, and I think that will allow him to be able to not have to focus on, as they say, feet or hearing footsteps or whatever that phrase is. So, but Josh, I know you'll agree with me when I say this. Just keep them the heck away from T.J. Ward because he, I don't know if he's the dirtiest player right now in the NFL, but T.J. Ward certainly has tendencies, and I think just keep T.J. Ward away from Rob Gronkowski. Just make sure that he's wearing some type of force field or something like that because they really need Rob Gronkowski. So what do you think about that, Josh?
I would absolutely. If Patriots lost Gronkowski to injury, the season would be over. It wouldn't matter what our record is right now. I don't. There's no way New England would be able to win games without Gronkowski. But as far as this pass rush goes, they're going to get to Brady in this game. There's no question in my mind. Von Miller will get after him. Trevathan, and you mentioned Brandon Marshall's another guy who'll create pressure. They got a lot of talent on this Denver defense, so they'll definitely be getting after Brady, and they'll probably be sending a lot of people. I just hope Brady doesn't get hurt. That's all.
Yeah, they also have their defensive ends, Derek Wolfe and Malik Jackson, which they're 2 very good guys as well. So, again, with the way the offensive line is, I think they're definitely going to get to Brady, especially with their line. But I will be pleasantly surprised if they don't. And it's all dependent on who's out there as far as wide receivers. And this time, I'm really hoping that Chris Harper can show up and show out because that catch that he made was really, really something to see. So, quickly, let's talk about the special teams. Brandon McManus is obviously their kicker, and we talk. Both of you know often that the Mile High advantage it's real. The altitude is something that has to be accounted for when away teams visit Mile High Stadium or Sports Authority Field, whatever it's called. So I think that kicking is going to be a very important game, especially with the special teams. And obviously, we still have the best kicker with Steven Gostkowski. But Josh, what do you think about the Mile High advantage, and do you think that the Patriots can be able to, especially as young as this team is, some of these guys have not played in Denver, so do you think that might be a little bit of a concern going up there?
Return game-wise, yes, maybe because of the fact that we're not even sure if Amendola is going to play, and then the likely scenario is Chris Harper is probably going to be back there returning kicks or punts, and he probably doesn't have that much experience other than practice, so that will be interesting to see if Amendola isn't playing. As far as Denver's special teams, they got one of the best kickers in the NFL. He's 20 of 21, and he's 5 of 6 for 50 plus. So that's pretty damn good, if you ask me. And their punter's one of the better ones in the league too, in Colquitt. So they have some talent in the special teams department. I won't say their return game is the best. I mean, especially with Emmanuel Sanders getting hurt, and I'm not even sure who's going to be back there return punts. I know Omar Bolden was back there, I think, and maybe Andre Caldwell. I'm not really sure who's going to be returning punts if Emmanuel Sanders isn't playing for Denver, but I don't know if I would be worried. Kick return game, I mean, that's really a non-factor in most NFL games, especially with McManus and Gostkowski kicking off, so that's not really of concern to me either.
Jerome, do you think that there is a mile high advantage? And if there is, do you think that the Broncos can definitely capitalize on it? And when I say mile high advantage, I don't just mean the air. I mean the fan base and everything in between.
Well, as a long-time Raider fan, Shaq, I will tell you that there is a distinct mile-high advantage. And I don't know, I don't know what it is. It's the altitude, the fans. I don't know. There's just something that happens in that stadium to where no matter what the score is, they still have a shot at it. And they're going to really make life tough on New England Sunday evening. They're going to lead that defense to get after Brady a few times. They'll will Osweiler on to make a few plays. And I think both of their running backs should be able to do a little something here and there, probably pick up 50 yards each. And overall, without any of you guys' weapons, I mean, all you got is Brady and Gronk now. It's going to be a very, very tough football game. And that mile-high advantage is going to make it a lot tougher. I do believe that this will be the test for New England. If they can somehow pull this out, you could be looking at a 16-0 team. But to me, I just don't see it. The mile-high advantage, the Denver Broncos is just going to probably catch up to New England Sunday night.
Okay, so since you would segue into it, Jerome, why don't you go first? Why don't you predict the score?
Well, I don't see a lot of offense in this game. It's going to be hard-hitting, very physical. Hey, it's going to be a lot of fun. NBC hit the jackpot with this game. I'm going to go ahead and say Denver 17, New England 16.
Josh?
Oh, New England's gonna win. I don't buy it. I don't buy it, Denver. Sorry. New England's gonna win. It's gonna be 17-10.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for NBC, or maybe not. Maybe they can do whatever they want to do, but. Yeah, the last Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady match was supposed to be this one, but it's not. So the last Brady versus Manning matchup was actually a 43-21 butt whooping at Gillette Stadium last year. So I'm pretty much happy with that outcome. But as far as this game is concerned, this is probably going to be another ugly game. I'm pretty sure it's not going to go the way the Patriots fans want it to go, especially in the first half. But the Patriots are a second-half team, and I just believe that the Broncos, they've struggled against a lot of these teams that they've played against. They even struggled with your Raiders, Jerome, and I really believe that a lot of the games that the Broncos have played in, and the game against the Chiefs, there are a lot of examples that you can use that the Broncos should have lost some games, and I believe that the Patriots are one of those teams, and I've said this before in previous weeks on the show, that they just find ways to win. No matter who's out there, no matter what circumstances might be in their way, they just find a way to win. And although I would not be surprised if a crazy thought thing happened and the Broncos were to win the game, they obviously have a chance to do that with their home field advantage, and I do not take that lightly. I think the Patriots can win the game, and I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be Patriots 20, Broncos 17. I just think it's going to be one of those games where I'm going to wind up with no nails at the end of it. All right, so we have a few minutes. Jerome, why don't you go ahead and promote your other shows since you're here? I wouldn't put you on the show just to, blank you out, if you know what I mean. So why don't you talk about what you got going on for the West Recess tomorrow night?
Well, tomorrow night we got ourselves a pretty big show going down over there. Me and Josh, we've got Sandman coming on there. We've got you coming on also, Shaq, to talk a little bit about this aforementioned New England-Denver game. So it's going to be pretty fun here. We were supposed to have PD Bronco come on, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to work that out. But we'll have ourselves a good time. Me and Josh, we'll talk a bit about the college football playoff system. We'll recap games from last week, and we'll let you and Sandman and have you have a great old time. It's going to be a great show, so I'm really looking forward to it. Tomorrow tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Pacific, right here on the NGSC. Be there or be square. Then Friday night, you got me and Jim Paskowitz over there on the Black Hole Brigade. We'll be breaking down the Raiders. Their loss to Detroit. We'll be previewing the game at Tennessee Sunday afternoon, and we'll start to take a look at what's wrong with the Raiders, why they lost 3 in a row. So hopefully they can get back on the right track and be there 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. We'll have a Raiderific Friday night, and hopefully you guys will be there.
Yeah, you guys always have a great time at your show. I can't wait to finally be an actual guest on your show instead of calling in. So I'm really excited about it. You guys put on a great product, and I listened to your Raiders show with Jim Paskowitz as well, and I really enjoy that one as well. Even though I'm not a Raiders fan, I do enjoy your insights. So I do thank you for coming on our show with on short notice, because PD Bronco was supposed to be on this show as well. So thank you for coming, Jerome. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me, Shaq. Anytime I can give you guys some insider information on the enemy, hey, I'm more than glad to do so. And you guys did a great job tonight, and I really appreciate you having me. I'd like to be back again if you'll have me.
Oh, definitely, man. And, oh, by the way, thank you for beating the Jets, too, because
no problem.
So, all right. So, Josh, that's it for us. Before we go, again, we have to mention our Facebook page because it's blowing up by the week. I haven't checked the actual number, but I believe we're past about 750 likes. So you guys are killing it on the Facebook page for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it's our show's attracting like wildfire, Josh. So thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah, it's awesome how popular our page has become. I'm glad we made the page. We are at 774 likes as of today. So in about a 2-week span, that's pretty amazing. So thanks to everyone who is listening to the show. Thanks to everyone who's visited our page. And we look forward to beating the Broncos this weekend.
Yeah, so our page is facebook.com/Flying Elvis Faithful. It's all one word, so just go there, like the page, and me and Josh usually try to post an article from the other Patriot sites for those of you who, like us, do not live in the greater New England area. So we try to find some articles and we post them for you. I'll post some funny pictures up there sometimes. So make sure you visit the Facebook page. It's always a lot of fun. And make sure you listen to me on the West Recess tomorrow night. And let me see. Oh, follow me on Twitter at AtomicDog22 and follow Josh on Twitter at Joshing_me. And next week we'll be talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's a game that I'm very interested in, even though it may mean a lot more than just a win. So we'll definitely have a lot to talk about as far as that, and we'll definitely have to talk about the Broncos game, and that'll pretty much be it for that week. So for Josh, for Jerome, I'm Shaq. Love, peace, and go Pats.
Later.